Guys, Mr. Gucci here helping you with your Candium mini lab calculations. I know I was answering a lot of questions with this yesterday and the day before, so I'm going to make this little video here to hopefully help some of you out. Now, the purpose of this lab is to find the average mass of a piece of Candium. Now, Candium is just a bag filled with M&Ms, Skittles, and Reese's, but there's different numbers of each type of candy, and each type of candy weighs a different amount. It's similar to trying to calculate the atomic mass of an atom, of an element, when you have different isotopes that weigh different amounts, and each isotope is in different percent abundance. So this is basically the exact same calculation we're going to do as with atomic mass. So you're going to get your little cup of candy, and you have to do two things. First, you have to sort your candy into piles. You have to sort it into a pile of M&Ms. All right, you can tell it has a little M on it. You sort the Skittles into another pile. They have a little S on them. And by process of elimination, what's left is the Reese's. You sort them all, and you count how many you have of each. So in this sample situation, I had 56 M&Ms, 32 Reese's, and 32 Skittles and 23 Reese's. All in all, that's a total of 111 pieces of candy. All right. The second thing I do with the candy is I take one of each piece of candy, and I went to a scale in the back of the classroom, and I weighed one of each type of piece. Now, it's important to remember that once you weigh each piece, you have to throw it away. Once it touched that gnarly scale, you don't want it anymore. It's got some gross chemicals on it, so throw it away. So make sure you do this weighing after you count out your candies, because you're going to lose one of each. Or you could weigh them beforehand and just remember that you got rid of one of each, so you have to add one to that number up there. Okay, now you've got the number of isotopes. You need to figure out what is the percentage of each. Now, any percentage calculation you do is always going to be equal to what do you have divided by what is the total. All right. So in this case, the percentage of M&Ms is going to be 56 M&Ms divided by 111 total pieces of candy. Now I'm going to go onto my calculator, and I'm going to do 56 divided by 111. And I got 0.54505. Yes. All right. And that's equal to, here, bounce that decimal place over twice, 50.5%. So I got 50.5% of my candy was M&Ms. All right, great. Next up, what is the percentage of my candy that is Skittles? Well, I had 32 Skittles out of, I don't know why that's highlighted. Let me unhighlight that. I had 32 Skittles out of 111 total pieces of candy. So 32 divided by 111, I get 0.288, which is equal to 28.8% of my candy was Skittles. All right. Lastly, what percentage was Reese's? Well, you had 23 Reese's divided by a total of 111 pieces of candy. My calculator tells me that's 23 divided by 111. That is equal to 0.207, which is equal to 20.7%. Okay, so 20.7% of my candy was Reese's. Very good. Now that I have these calculations, I am free to eat all the candy that I have, right? Eat them. By the way, you also don't need these numbers anymore either. Okay, so once you have the mass of each piece of candy, all right, and you have the percentage of each piece of candy, you are prepared to do your calculation, your atomic mass calculation. Okay, the atomic mass calculation is pretty straightforward. It's just the mass of the first piece of candy times what percentage you have, plus the mass of the second candy times its percent, plus the mass of the third times its percent, and you add it all together. Okay, you're going to have to show your work for this. This is the last bit of math you have on this lab, so make sure you show your work, all right? So let's take a look. I wrote down ahead of time the calculation that you would need, all right? So here we go. So I've got the mass of the M&M. So what colors did I use? So we got the mass of the M&M times its percent, all right? And then you got the mass of the Skittle times its percent. And then you got the mass of the Reese's times its percent, and we are going to get those numbers and add them all up together. So let's see this. Let's see if this works out. So 0.89 times 50.5%, that is 0.449. Okay. Next up, you've got 1.05 grams for the Skittle times 28.8%, and I got 0.302. And then the last one, the mass of a Reese's, 0.79 grams, times 20.7%, 0.164. And now I add them all together. So 0.164 plus 0.302 plus 0.449, I got 0.915 grams. Okay, the unit is grams here. So that's my answer. That's the final answer that I got here. Now, let's do a quick check here to see if it makes sense. All right, and how we do that is this. The lowest mass was the Reese's at 79 grams, and the highest mass was the Skittles at 100 or 1.05 grams. Your answer needs to be between the lowest and highest masses. All right, and also it should be closest to whatever you have the most of. I have the most M&Ms, and so my answer should be closest to that mass, and it is. So it looks like this calculation is correct, okay? And that's how you do this. The rest of this lab is just answering some questions here, all right? Just answer the questions as they come up down here, all right? Anyways, we will do this lab today. The last question we will do on Friday, all right? Good luck, everyone.